Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I filmed, but today I'm here with a special guest, my husband Casey.
Hello.
Yeah, so I haven't filmed in a while because it has literally been so hot where we live. Like the last 2 weeks, it was like 115 degrees, and it's never been that hot where we live. Like I think the highest it's ever been was like 104. So like every single day it's been so hot, and I don't do well in the heat. I just didn't want to put on makeup or do my hair or like film a video. So but I'm back, and get ready for back-to-back videos because I'm going to be cranking them out. I'm a little behind on schedule, so get ready for a ton of videos. And before we get started with this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe if you want to see more from us. So yeah, this video is all about our trip. If you haven't seen the rest of them, we went on a trip across the country. We did 26 states in 23 days. It was crazy. It was a whirlwind.
Yeah, it was.
So go watch those videos. You get to see everything. We did Texas barbecue. We did a horseback riding in the Arizona desert. We did a Louisiana swamp tour. We did the Grand Canyon. We did Disney World.
Bourbon Street.
Yeah, so we did it all. So go watch those videos. They're really exciting. And but this video, we're just gonna kind of break down our trip and do like tips and tricks that we learned along the way, to let you guys know how to have the best road trip. So I wrote down a couple of things. First, I'm going to get into our budget because obviously this trip was quite pricey, but there's ways to save money. So our budget was $5,000 was our budget together, which obviously is a lot of money to just throw down. But a road trip like this, like maybe it's not that much money. So it all depends on what kind of experience you want to have, but I'll just go through like what we spent on each thing. So Disney World was a very expensive part of our budget. We ended up spending $641 for 2 days at Disney World, which to me is honestly insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
So if you want to forgo Disney World, that is like that is a huge chunk of money that you can save, obviously, if you don't go to Disney World. Or another thing I suggest is just go to Disney Springs, because parking was free. And it's pretty much Disney World. Like they have a Disney World store, they have food places, and you could just walk around. There's tons of stuff to do in Disney Springs. It's kind of like downtown Disney for Disneyland, but yeah. Souvenirs, we spent about $500. We went... our souvenir budget was $600, which like $300 each, but I spent a lot. Like I spent probably $400 of the souvenir budget. But obviously I suggest just picking like up a couple of things that you really, really want. You don't need to buy everything. Like make sure you're like, am I actually going to wear this, or is it going to be useful to me? You know, gas. I don't even want to say the number because it's very sad. But we spent $1,664 on gas. Yeah, it's a big part of the budget. One thing is we decided to just drive our car, which, you know, it made me have a lot more mileage, and, you know, I spent a lot of money putting into my car to even go on the trip. I had to do some repairs, and I also had to get more oil changes. So, and it wasn't as roomy as like an RV, but an RV would have cost a lot of money with gas.
It probably would have been like double,
Yeah.
I'd say, gas.
So you might be saving on, if you do an RV, you might be saving on like hotels and stuff, but the gas will really hit you. Food, we spent $1,238. That's another thing which food on this trip was kind of important to me. Like, I wanted to try a lot of food across the United States, and obviously that's going to be expensive. But if that's not important to you, you could save so much money. We got a cooler and we put ice in it to ice our drinks, but you could just make your own sandwiches, you know, bring your own food, snacks and stuff. So we could have saved a lot of money there, but it was kind of important to us to try a bunch of different cool foods. So that was a big part of our budget. Parking was $164, which, I mean, you can't really avoid that, you know. Especially if you're going into big cities, parking is going to be kind of pricey.
Yeah,
so,
we didn't really plan for like spending a lot of money on parking, but just know that if you're planning on visiting any big cities, you're gonna have to pay for parking. It's just,
yeah,
it's part of it.
I actually did budget in parking, but one thing I did not budget in was the tolls. So in California, we don't have a lot of toll roads. We have like the San Francisco Bridge is quite pricey, but there's a couple of bridges that cost money to go on if there's a toll. But like throughout the entire state of California, there really aren't that many tolls. So I just had no idea to budget for that, and that ended up being $182. And a lot of them we got sent a bill in the mail. Like, I think we only paid like $20 like in person, but a lot of tolls they won't even let you pay for. You either have to have a pass or they'll send you a bill in the mail. So get ready for after your trip to still be spending money for your trip. So
especially if you're planning on traveling to Florida.
Oh my God,
or Pennsylvania.
Florida was the worst. Like every 5 minutes there was a toll, and none of them were the same money. It was like $2 here, like $10 there. It was every 5 minutes down the entire length of Florida. So I think Florida itself was $100, like something around there, just $100 just to drive through Florida and back. So yeah, plan for tolls because we didn't. And then activities, we were right on $400 was our budget, and obviously this is going to definitely fluctuate for you. I highly suggest doing at least a couple of activities. You don't want to just be driving the entire state or United States. You don't want to just drive through it. You really want to get out and experience things, and those are the best memories. Like the activities that we did were the best memories on the trip. Like driving itself, that was fun. We actually like driving on road trips. A lot of people don't, but we do. I like that part. I like just listening to music, looking out the window, eating snacks. But the best memories we made were from like all the activities that we did. So, highly suggest at least a couple, you know, because they can add up too. And then the last thing was hotels. We only spent $278 on hotels. We did get cheap ones, and we that's how we saved a lot of money, is we only stayed what was it, 5 nights?
Yeah.
Or no, I think it was 8 nights.
8 nights,
8 nights
3 different
total.
hotels.
8 nights total in a hotel. So we really saved money that way. We would not be able to do this trip if we didn't not stay in hotels every single night. But if that's something important to you, then do it. If you need to stay in a hotel, do it. But again, you're gonna have to budget a lot of money in for that. Okay, so our budget was $5,000 and our grand total was, drum roll, it was $5,018. We went over budget by $18. I'm so proud of us. We really tried to stay on budget and it worked out, and I'm proud of us. Now our total mileage was, I don't know if this is a lot. I don't know what my guesstimation was. I think my guesstimation was about 7,000. What did you guess our mileage would be?
I want to say like 16,000. I don't know. That was probably a little bit much, but
okay. So we drove on the southern states from California to all the way up to Pennsylvania. And then we went up to Minnesota, and like then we cut through the middle of the states. So our mileage was 9,530 miles. So we almost drove 10,000 miles in 23 days. Like, that's insane, honestly, when I think about it.
yeah, it is insane.
That's crazy. So here's like a couple of things that we learned along the way and tips that you guys can bring on your road trip. So my number one thing on here is save money on hotels and stay in truck stops. So
Rest areas.
yeah, like rest stops. A lot of trucks stop there too. I don't know what they're called. Just
rest areas or rest stops.
Yeah. So that is our tip. So the first night we stayed in a Walmart parking lot, which nobody bothered us, but a lot of the Walmart parking lots that we went to, we stopped at a couple of Walmarts. We didn't stay the night, but most of them had signs that said no overnight parking, which obviously they don't really want people like living there. But you can do it in a pinch. But we found out that rest stops were the best. They have a bathroom that you can go and use 24/7. They did not have any showers, which I was expecting them to have showers. They did not, which was kind of disappointing. But there's a lot of people there, and they're not like scary people. Like, they're just people on a road trip just like you, and everybody keeps to themselves. It seemed safe to me. Obviously, you know, you always want to stay safe, lock your doors, you know, be aware of your surroundings. But they're not like what they're portrayed in the movies, like all dingy and gross and scary people. There are truckers there too. But I slept pretty well at all the truck stops. Nobody ever bothered us. I think it had to do with the fact that we, you know, didn't throw our garbage everywhere and look like we were living there, you know, be respectful. But the truck stops were actually a lot nicer than I thought.
Yeah, and I think like in a lot of states, it will say like no overnight camping at rest stops, but or like, you know, like maybe like an 8-hour parking limit. But if you're just gonna stay there one night and for the most part you're just staying in your car and, using the restroom, no one's gonna bother you.
Yeah,
you
just be
know
respectful and they'll let you stay there a
yeah,
night or maybe two.
just one night if you need to stay, it's definitely the best place.
Yeah. My next tip is drink lots of water. Our road trip was in the summertime, in the beginning of summer, which it was freaking hot. All those southern states are hot, sweaty, sticky, gross. So even though you don't want to be stopping a lot to use the bathroom, drink plenty of water. And stretch. Every night that we stayed in a hotel, I stretched because obviously you're going to be sitting a long time. So make sure to stretch. And one thing that happened to us was our ankles got really swollen. It was crazy. I should have taken a picture, but they like swelled up like balloons. And I think it was because it was hot, and also the way we were sleeping, like we were inclined kind of like downwards, like our feet were, so we weren't getting a lot of blood flow. So my next tip is to, whenever you can, like lift your ankles up to like reduce the swelling, because that's one weird thing that happened to us.
Yeah, it seemed to happen when we were traveling through the southern states.
Yeah.
I think maybe the humidity has something to do with it.
Yeah, it was really weird, but... Number 3 is, I have another tip on here to budget for tolls, because that's one thing we did not realize, and that's an extra couple $100, so budget in tolls. Another tip I have on here, well, just something that I learned, is that people in other states were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people say, like, people hate people from California, and that's really not my experience. People were honestly in every state like super nice to us. I mean, we didn't go out and be like, we're from California, but if people asked us where we were from, we said California, and they were like super, super nice. With the exception of Florida. I'm not ragging on you guys in Florida, but there was some snippety people out there. They were not in a good mood. I don't know if it has to do with people's age or what, or if it was just really hot and people are just kind of not nice in Florida.
Yeah, I'm not sure that had anything to do with where we were from.
Yeah, I don't
think
know.
Just southern Florida, Miami area, it's hot. It's
people were just grouchy.
It's busy. Everybody's in a hurry. I think that's probably what more had to do with than.
Yeah, but the state that wins the nicest people award is Alabama, because we weren't even in there for very long. We just drove straight on through. But like I told you in one of our vlogs, our battery died while we were at a gas station in Alabama, and some guy who clearly had no money, or he was in kind of a rough situation, he offered to jump our car, which was so nice. And it was like middle of nowhere, Alabama, midnight, and this guy was so selfless and so nice to us, jumped our car for us. So nicest people award goes to Alabama. Shout out, we love you. Next here, so let's talk about our favorite and least favorite states. So what was your favorite state?
I'd say like my favorite state as far as like sightseeing and just finding it like cool and interesting was Louisiana. I don't know. I just like, it's so different than any other state. Like the entire state's pretty much underwater, there's so many bridges because like everywhere is just a swamp, and like all the trees have like moss covering them. It's really interesting. It's so different than where we live. It was really cool to see that, and we got to go on the swamp tour while we were in Louisiana, which was really cool on one of those airboats. And then I would say like just like a state that I think is just nice and cool and that I wouldn't mind living would probably be Georgia. I like had no idea how pretty it is there. Tennessee as well. They're both very pretty states. Tennessee's way more mountainous than I expected, and green. And everything's so green there. So yeah, those would be, I guess, my favorites.
Yeah. Okay. I would say the prettiest state for me was definitely Ohio. For some reason, like, I didn't expect Ohio to be as gorgeous as it is. Like, everything is so lush and like green, and all the houses are like pristine and beautiful, and Ohio is just a gorgeous state. I also really liked Texas. The people there were super nice. Buc-ee's is there. I don't know, I just like Texas. And what about your least favorite state?
Least favorite.
And no hate to anybody that lives here. Like, we love y'all.
Oh man, that's tough. I'm trying to think like a least favorite. Maybe Minnesota. Oh, no, not that
I liked Minnesota.
Not that there is anything wrong with Minnesota necessarily. I don't know. The Mall of America was cool to see.
Yeah, like the city, like Minneapolis was actually really big, and it was city-like, you know.
Yeah, it's just a city, you know. There was nothing necessarily wrong with Minnesota, but just the parts that we saw were just, it wasn't that interesting or exciting for me, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned Louisiana as your favorite state, because I'm going to say that was one of my least favorite. Not for any fault of Louisiana, but the people, it's just everywhere we went, it was just really sad. There's a lot of poverty in Louisiana, and that needs to change. We need to help Louisiana. They've never been helped. It's so sad to see. We were in New Orleans a lot, so obviously we saw a lot of drug use, a lot of poverty. It was really sad. There is a lot of history in Louisiana, which I love that. But it was just kind of scary being there.
Yeah, you know, I will say Louisiana was my favorite state to visit. But like New Orleans and like Bourbon Street in particular, it wasn't necessarily my favorite part. It's so wild there. I think, you know, if I was...
Yeah, it's like spring break 24/7.
Right, yeah.
You know, that's not for us. But if you want to go party, you're going to have a wild, crazy time.
If I was in my early 20s, late teens, single, I would have probably loved it. But, you know, it was just a little bit too wild and crazy for me. But the rest of Louisiana, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Another state that wasn't really particularly my favorite was Florida, just because everything was so expensive, just like California, and it was so sticky and muggy and hot there. Like, I couldn't wait to get out of there. Just because I love cold weather. So I don't know. That was just not my favorite, but all right, moving on. These are a couple things that I noticed. These are so random, but things that I noticed that we really only have in California. And one that I've noticed was toilet seat covers. It's so random, but we went to a lot of different bathrooms, obviously, driving across the U.S., and they really only exist in California. I don't know. Is that something like that you guys know about? I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Another thing is carpool lane. So the carpool lane, I really only saw it in California and maybe Arizona, but it's a lane that they put in where you're only allowed to drive in it if you have 2 or more, or sometimes 3 or more people in your car. And in other states, I saw that lane was like a fast pass lane, so you had to have a pass to drive in. But in California, there's no pass. Like, you just have to have more people in your car. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything like that you notice that we have in California that we don't have in other states?
I noticed, this is kind of like just like a small weird thing that I noticed, but I noticed California's gas pumps are different than every other state. For some reason, we have like, it's hard to explain.
There's like a suction cup that like holds in the gas thing.
The gas nozzle.
The nozzle. There's like a suction cup, and you can like click it on to hold it in place. But in other states, it's just like a coil that you just put it in.
Right. Yeah. I honestly didn't know that was a California thing, but yeah.
Okay, next. Moving on. We gotta hurry up because this video's, yeah. Okay, cheapest. Our cat wants to say hello.
You want to say hi?
We have a visitor. Say hello. He missed us so much when we were on our trip. So, say hi to the people. Okay, go play. Okay, so we're gonna go over cheapest versus most expensive gas. So the number one cheapest gas that we came across, the winner is Georgia, and what was it, $3.80? Oh, now I forget.
I want to say it was $3.84.
Yeah, $3.84 was the cheapest gas, which to California, oh my God, you guys are lucky out there. And then the most expensive gas we came across was, get ready for this, $7.99. $7.99 a gallon. And this was in California, obviously. It was like right on the outskirts of California where you cross to like the Nevada border. And like out in the desert, obviously they can charge whatever they want because people will pay it. But yeah, so $3.84 was the cheapest we noticed, and $7.99 was the most expensive. Okay, what was your favorite food that we tried on the trip?
I'd say the barbecue in Austin.
Yeah, I'm still drooling over that barbecue that we had in Texas.
Yeah,
I would say that was definitely
barbecue.
my favorite thing that we tried too. Was Terry Black's barbecue. So good. What was your least favorite thing that we tried?
Oh, wow.
Probably that Qdoba place. We went to Qdoba. Have you guys ever heard of that place? We don't have it in California that I'm aware of, but ugh.
Yeah, Qdoba
It was
not
bad.
good.
I don't know if we just went to a bad one, but it was like watery. It was so bad. We got like a quesadilla, and it was like watery. So I don't recommend Qdoba, but tell me if you guys have that place and if you guys like it.
Honorable mention to, what was that po' boy place we went to in Louisiana?
Oh, Parkway Bakery.
Parkway Bakery. That was excellent as well.
I think it was in New Orleans. I don't know. That wasn't my favorite, but I'm not really into seafood.
I liked it more, but it was very good.
All right. Anything else about food?
No.
All right,
No,
moving
that's
on. One thing I want to mention is to always be aware of your surroundings. Safety. You guys are in other states where, you just have to be safe. And we did not tell this story yet, I don't think. I should have got it on film because it was so crazy. But when we were on Bourbon Street, we went to find a parking spot, and the sign on the street was like a little confusing. We weren't sure if we were allowed to park there. So we were trying to decide if we should park there or not. And this guy comes up And he is wearing gloves, like disposable gloves. And this man is clearly on something. And I'm standing right next to my car. Casey's like a ways down the street, like trying to read the sign. And I'm standing right next to my car, and this guy comes over and jumps on the hood, like sits on it, jumps on the hood to like see if my car alarm will go off. And then he tries to like open the handle, clearly trying to break into my car right in front of me. I mean, he was obviously on some drugs, but it was so scary. Like I didn't want to confront the man, so I just stood there and watched him. Obviously, if it were to escalate, like if you were to try to break the window, I would have had to call the police. But that was insane.
Yeah, it was. That was crazy.
Can you believe that happened?
No, I can't. Honestly, yeah, I would certainly recommend if you're going to be visiting Bourbon Street, just pay to park in a garage. They have security.
Don't park on the street on Bourbon Street. Even the parking lot was kind of sketchy, but do not chance it. But yeah, always be aware of your surroundings. Number one, if you're by yourself, I don't recommend going on a cross-country trip by yourself at all. Always be with somebody. Anytime I went to the bathroom at a rest stop, I had him go with me. Just, be aware of what's going on because people are crazy. So yeah. I don't remember why I put this on here, but okay, expensive versus cheap states. I was gonna say, now I remember, I was gonna talk about how Las Vegas, I was actually very pleasantly surprised how cheap Vegas was. We got our hotel, was like a 4-star hotel for, what was it, $100 a night, maybe 150.
No, not even. It was like 80 something.
Yeah, we got a 4-star hotel. So yeah, Vegas was a lot more affordable than I thought. The food was still really pricey. The alcohol was kind of pricey, but souvenirs were super cheap. And the hotel, you can get some amazing hotels in Vegas for cheap. So if you want to go to Vegas, you can find some really good deals there.
Yeah, and the cool part about Vegas too is we stayed at the Sahara Hotel, which was a very nice hotel. And right at the Sahara, there's a monorail stop. And you can pay, I think it's like $10 for a 24-hour pass to ride the monorail. It'll take you anywhere you want to go on the strip. So if you want to drink, you don't have to drive. You can just take the monorail anywhere, gamble, eat, and then take it right back to your hotel at the end of the night. It's pretty awesome.
That's one thing. Don't get an Uber. Like just walk or take the monorail. Okay, quickly, we're going to go over our top 5 experiences of all time on our trip. So, go, top 5.
Top 5? I don't know if this is in any order, but I would say the airboat tour in Louisiana, the Grand Canyon, seeing the Grand Canyon, Arches National Park in Utah, let's see, horseback riding in Arizona desert, and what am I forgetting? I guess just going to the beach in Florida.
Okay, my top 5, these aren't in order either. Disney World, of course. The Grand Canyon, that was maybe my number 1 experience. The Grand Canyon was so amazing. It was surreal to look out on the Grand Canyon. Okay. Number 3 is horseback riding in the Arizona desert. I've never been horseback riding and I loved it. Number 4 was the airboat tour, the swamp tour. We got to see gators in Louisiana. And number 5, maybe the Mall of America, because I'm a mall rat at heart. Yeah, those were my top 5 experiences. So that was it for our trip tip video. I don't really know what to call this, but if you guys are going on a road trip, even if it's just across your state, you can use some of these tips, and hopefully you will save a little bit of money or have a better experience. But this was honestly the trip of a lifetime, and something I will remember forever. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.